Welcome to the video Components of a Table. This is part of a series for the Access for Professionals videos at Olympic College. My name is Pam Bilodeau, and I will walk you through the concepts contained here. If you are unfamiliar with the concepts of databases, I recommend you watch the video entitled What is a Database? As part of this video series prior to watching this video, as topics covered will assume you have familiarity with the basics of databases as covered in the other video. In Access, tables are called objects. There are other objects as well, such as forms, reports, and queries. Each object has a special purpose and function. The purpose of the table object is to store data values. That means the data in databases are stored in tables. In Access databases, tables are the only place where data are stored. All other objects exist to provide ways of looking at the data in the tables. Tables are two-dimensional. That is because they have columns and rows. Columns run vertically, like columns that hold up buildings, and rows run horizontally across from left to right. Columns are referred to as fields or attributes. Rows are referred to as records or tuples. Let's look at columns and rows in a bit more depth, since these serve important roles when working with databases. Columns and fields are the same thing, though the term field is more appropriate when discussing databases. Fields detail attributes of the subject of the table. Attributes describe characteristics about the subject. Therefore, fields are the attributes of the thing being tracked in the table. Database designers decide what facts they want to track in their databases. A collection of similar facts, such as zip code, is known as an attribute because it describes a characteristic particular to the thing being tracked. So if a table exists to track data about individual people, zip code might be one attribute of the people being tracked in the database. Recall that tables are two-dimensional, and fields represent the columnar view. In this example, we see how the fields are the attributes that describe characteristics in the table. These characteristics are important since they provide a way to track data pertinent to the subject. This table has a subject of cars, and it is tracking 7 fields as the attributes important to it. In the two-dimensional table, records represent the row view. In this example, we see how the records contain data that describe individual instances of the subject. In each cell, a record and field intersect to provide a data value in the cell, such as one car's vehicle identification number. This table about cars has only 2 records, though it would be very easy to add additional records or to modify the data in the records. Here are some rules and things to note about working with tables. Data values are facts about something that are stored in cells where a record intersects with a field. A field is a characteristic of the subject of a table. A record in a table is an instance of one thing being tracked. When records are added to a table, the new record goes to the bottom of the table. It does not matter what order records are in because each record can be filtered and extracted as needed. As a rule, never create a field to store data in a table that can or must be calculated. Calculated fields are better created in queries using data available in the tables. An example of this is a person's age. If you were to store someone's age in a table, you would have to go in and update that value once per year for every record. Further, you would technically need to update the value for each record individually on the birth date of the individual as that person turns a year older. If you wish to know someone's age, you can create a calculation in a query that is based on birth date, which does not change. In this case, storing the birth date makes more sense. Keep the calculation notion in mind as you determine what fields you wish to track in your database. A properly formed table will exhibit fields or attributes that are focused on a single subject so that all of the fields in the table directly describe or relate to the subject of the table. We will look more at this in other videos. To continue your learning on designing databases, I recommend you watch the next video in the series, Assigning a Primary Key.